What's going on, guys? It's been a while since I've made a video, but just wanted to get on here and encourage you guys that sometimes, I guess, in this Christian life, it's just a small encouragement for anyone else who's kind of feeling kind of in a similar season. But sometimes, recently I got a paddle board with my wife. We both got paddle boards, and we were paddling out into like the open water, not on an ocean or anything, but on a river here in Montreal. And there's times when you're paddling, but you get tired, right? And your arms are just so heavy, and you just need a break, right? And those times when we first got the paddle board, we just had one, and there was a little chair on the paddle board and everything. And so I would take some time paddling, and my wife would take some time paddling as well. And there's times where you take a break, and I would lay down and my wife would be paddling, and you just see the water, you're just slowly moving through the water. And that's how it is sometimes in our Christian life as well, where there's going to be times where you feel motivated, where you feel on fire, you feel capable of whatever. Okay, I don't know if that's an illusion, because a lot of times it's really, at the end of the day, it's God who's doing his work in us. But there will be times in our spiritual life where you're motivated to learn, you're motivated to pray, you're motivated to fight the good fight in your spirit when times are rough. You're gonna have those times, but there's also gonna be times where you're tired, right? And you don't feel you have the strength to do the thing at hand. Like in my previous example, which is, rowing, for example, moving in the direction you believe you should be moving, right? And there's so many things to keep in consideration as well, is that, do you truly know where God is bringing you? Maybe there's a reason that at this moment you're not supposed to be paddling, right? Maybe God wants you to rest, right? There's so many things to keep in consideration, but if you believe in the Bible and you believe in Jesus, then you know that Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden and burdened, and I will give your soul rest," right? And that's so beautiful. And like I said, it reminds me of the time where I'm on the paddleboard, I'm laying down and enjoying the sun, but yet I'm still moving on the water. And it's so nice to know that Jesus is your everything, and he's trustworthy, and he will get you through. And so there's going to be times in your spiritual life where you're like, I don't feel I'm doing anything to be productive in my walk with God, or even in service to him. But in those times, just take heart and know that you're still in the boat with him. And that's the most important thing, And there was a time where the disciples were looking at Jesus saying, "Lord, why are you sleeping?" Right? So there's something to be learned in peace, rest, and trust, knowing that God is working out your life and knows every single detail of your life. He knows how every small decision will impact where you end up. And we believe he has a plan for your life. And so if you're in that season of life where you're kind of not knowing where you're going, or if you're doing enough, or if you're providing enough service to God, right? Because us humans, this is how we think, and that's kind of how I feel in this season of my life right now as well. Sometimes we just have to take heart, knowing that the Lord knows everything. He knows the desires of your heart. He knows if you have a desire in your heart to serve the Lord, he knows that, and he put it there, and he's going to do what he will with it. But there's going to be seasons in life, just like Moses, where he was, in the wilderness for a while, to put it lightly, right? Living with his father-in-law and his wife, tending to sheep, and we should never think that God has a more special calling in your life, to where, every instance in your life has to be filled and packed with something exciting. There is something to be said about those times where the Lord just wants you to rest, and if you're in that season right now, or if you're not, and you're motivated and things are going and you're feeling productive for the Lord, that's all great. But just always remember And I hope this is encouraging that the Lord has a plan for your life. And regardless of if you're on a high or low, the Lord is still carrying you through. So I hope that has encouraged you.